Good morning, everyone. First of all, thanks a lot for inviting me for this prestigious event. It's an honor to be part of this gathering with senior HR practitioners, and more importantly, my sir and my guru, Professor E.M. Rao. I was a student of his when I was in XIMB, and today morning, it's a privilege. All of you should consider it's a privilege that you've been a part of an institute where Professor Rao is teaching you. I mean, honestly, and just to give you an idea why I'm saying this, today morning I just posted on my Twitter and Facebook that I'm going to be I'm at XIMB and meeting Professor Rao. At last count, as I was coming down to this podium, I had about 45 of my batchmates out of 60 responding to me that please convey our regards to sir. Right, so that's the kind of high regard we have. Thank you very much for Okay, Monalish has been extremely helpful in terms of coordinating with me and helping me understand what am I supposed to speak. So I had asked her that what should I be talking about, and she says whatever comes is best as per the expectations or what I can convey to the gathering as people, young managers who are going to be passing out very soon from this prestigious institute. And I looked at the talent acquisition strategies and looked at the various ways of how talent acquisition is being done. And then I realized that there's a basic difference when I looked at the profile of all the senior colleagues and practitioners who are going to be speaking out here. I represent an organization which is very young, okay? Young both from the perspective of its tenure. We are an organization which is only 6 years old, okay? And as well as the fact that the average age of the organization is about 26 years, right? So to that, in that aspect, the organization itself, which is Bero, it's a fairly unique or a different organization considered when I compare it to the ones from which my senior practitioners are sitting out here. Now what we do, in fact there were a couple of people, a couple of your alumni who joined the institute from my organization 2-3 years back. We are an organization which help our clients' organizations in their procurement strategies. Just to put it in layman terms, we help clients in their buying strategies, what to buy, where to buy, what prices to buy. So we basically do research, we do consulting, we do price forecasts, cost models, everything, anything under the sun to help our clients figure out where should they be buying their raw materials and services in the process of making their finished goods or materials, whatever that may be. So we don't look at the selling strategies, we look at the buying strategies of the clients, right? So that's what we do, and we do it in about 8-9 different industries. As I said, average age of the organization is 26. Now what I'm going to be presenting is my experience with this, or I've been part of this organization for the last 2.5 years. When I joined this organization, we were about 100 people in one center, that was Chennai. Today we are about 500 in 5 different centers across the globe. And 2.5-3 years back, the attrition of the organization was about 42%. Today it stands at 16%. So we've done a few things in terms of managing the young workforce which is there with Bero. And we've done a few things which I believe have given us the results which I'm talking about in terms of the growth of the organization as well as the retention. Obviously, it stems from the fact of attracting and getting the right set of people and then managing them, right? But I'm going to be talking about a story line which is about a 3-year-old story in terms of how we have attracted people like you, right? Manage them, manage their careers, manage their aspirations, and in the process build in fact, we are on our way of building a strong organization. And that's why, can I have a presentation? Okay, I'll have to look back. Okay, no problems. Okay. This is for next slide. Okay, can you put it on space? First slide. Can I use my slide here? Can you give me access to my slide? Oh, okay, fine. I'll do it. Okay, fine. So that's why the topic of my presentation, as I said, attracting and managing Gen Y. By the way, what is Gen Y? Can anybody answer? I'd like to be as attractive as possible. So what is Gen Y? Sorry? I can't hear you. Sorry. Anyone? Sorry? Oh, why is young? No, okay. Let's be a little more definitive. There are various theories in terms of defining the workforce of different generations. Okay, and various theories define Gen Y in terms of from which year the actual the generation Y starts. Incidentally, I would believe each one of you would be part of this Gen Y. Okay, because the definition which I am going to be using is people who are born after 1982. So basically people who are less than 30 years of age at this point of time form that entire Gen Y. And as I said, my organization, 95% of the people are from Gen Y. Okay, so I'll be talking about how do you attract and motivate and manage the next generation of employees as they move into the workforce. Alright, why is it important? I'll narrate a story here. 2 months back, I was in Singapore attending a conference. One of the delegates from UK mentioned that his grandmother, still alive, is 94 years old. Okay. The other thing which he said, when she was born, which was I think 1914, the average life expectancy of women in the world was about 47 years, right? So think about it, that lady has already lived twice the life expectancy which was prevalent at the time of her birth, correct? Now if you really extrapolate it and think really radically, the time will not be far away if the life expectancy today is about 70 years, that very soon we'll find people living up to the age of 130, 140, 150. Maybe radical, but possible, right? So what is the implication for HR practitioners? What is the implication of this for HR practitioners? The implication is very soon, in fact we are already seeing this, you'll have about 3 to 4 generations, different generations working in the same organization. And you as an HR manager or HR practitioner will have to come up with strategies of managing each of these generations. The underlying point is the motivators, the aspirations of each of the generations will be different. Alright? And that's why it takes that much more significance. Right? So just to re-emphasize that point, will that work? Okay, let me start with this. So why is Gen Y important? I'm going to be talking, as I said, the generation which is sitting out here. People who will be moving into the workforce very, very soon. Why is it important? And I'm quoting a Harvard Business Review and a Mint study out here, which talks about that at present, more than 50% of current global force is the Gen Ys. Alright? And if you really extrapolate that and look at some of the points we are talking about, more than 50% of the high potential and middle managers right now in the Indian business scenario are from Gen Y. This I'm not stating, this is a study from Mint which is stating that. Right? More importantly, if you look at the last part, okay, the majority of the workforce in 2015 will be from the Gen Y, obviously, right, as more and more people move into the workforce. And therefore the implications are, unless organizations brace themselves to managing this entire generation of workforce, which is going to be the majority of the workforce in very soon in future, we'll be short charging ourselves. Right? And that's why this entire topic gains that much more significance. Most importantly, the last point, there's a gentleman called Dan. He heads an organization which is called Millennial Branding in New York City. It's an organization which helps their clients in terms of coming up with strategies to manage the next generation employees. He states that only 7% of the Gen Y, this is by the way US data which he's quoting, only 7% of the Gen Y population in the United States of America work with a Fortune 500 organization. Okay, most of them are working with young startup organizations because that's what is, those are the organizations which are leading up to their aspirations and expectations. And I'll talk about why is so. Right? So if that is the case, it's a huge challenge right now for the bigger organization. How do they tap this potential? How do they attract this next generation workforce? And how do they manage them to reap the best benefits out of them? Right? So that's the context with which I'm talking here. I'm going to be talking about perceptions about Gen Y. And I'm going to be throwing up a question to all of you. Be absolutely honest. And I'm going to be asking this. How many of you have been or have heard things like these about yourself from some of the people from previous generations? There are people who have not heard that you're spoiled, you're lazy, or you don't respect elders. Is there anybody who's not heard even one of those from the previous generations? One person. Okay, we need to talk. No, they are. There's only one of them, right? Okay. Don't bother, because to me, and again, so I'm purely talking about experience, and I'll say why I'm saying this. All of this is just a myth, and I'll say why I'm saying that. Okay, we say that the generation, next gen. By the way, I'm not very far away from that generation as well. Is spoiled, and come to think of it, right? This is a generation which has been brought up by our elders, by our parents, with a context that you're the best in the world, or you're the best, right? The situation has been such that every single or most of the desires of the wants or the needs of of this generation has been met either by the elders or by the parents, right? So in a way, it's really, if we are saying that the generation is spoiled because they expect everything on a platter. They expect everything on a platter because we have brought them up like that. Okay, that's my context. People can agree to disagree, but that's what I perceive. Lazy? Okay. I disagree with the fact that people call the generation that, the Gen Y is lazy. And by the way, I have heard these from my senior managers, including my CEO in the organization for the last 2.5 years as well. That our people are lazy. You give them a 6-week project, 4 weeks they'll not be doing anything according to them. Within 2 weeks the projects will be done. I'm sure many of you would have done with your projects as well. But how I look at it is, if you really dig deep and talk to people and see how they manage their work, and this I'm talking purely from the way the research work is being done at Berue, the generation is far more connected than we ever were. They're far more networked, they're far more technologically capable. Okay? And these are the tools which help or enable the generation of yours to do work faster and more efficiently. Okay, and again, I'm not generalizing things, I'm just making a statement based on my experiences. But if that be the case, and if because of that people are, or the generation is able to work faster and more efficiently, I think it is wrong to term them as lazy then. Alright? Little respect for authority, I doubt that, because as I'll talk about that, what are the characteristics of Gen Y, I think it's not a little respect for authority or lack of respect for authority. It is the fact that this is a generation which asks questions, okay? And I've observed this, I've experienced it. This is a generation which will not be aligned or which will not be in sync with something you ask them to do unless they are completely convinced. Do you agree by that? Yes. Do you ask questions? Yes. I'll ask after the session. But I think that is an important point, because if you're asking questions, if you're raising doubts, if you're clarifying things before going deep into your work, deep into your projects or assignments, I think that's a good thing. That's an incredible thing, rather than we saying that you have little respect for authority just because you're asking too many questions in the meeting. Okay? So to me, those points which are there, even though I agree completely that most of you would have heard these things about yourself from some people, are not really true. Okay?